All right. We're about to get started with our next talk here. This, as I said, is Lisa MacCarrigan. She is a front-end software engineer here at Guru, and I'm happy to say she's actually on my team, so I get to work with her on a daily basis, so don't be jealous. And she's here to talk to you about how the principles of improv comedy can make you a better developer. So let's give it up for Lisa and woo, break a leg.
And the mic's off. Good way to start. Hello.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, wow. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about how the principles of improv can make you a better developer. Let's dive right in. It works. Already, it's not. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So got this anonymous question. Thank you, crowd. So what is improv? Thank you for asking. Improvisation or improv is the form of theater, often comedy, in which most or all of what is performed is unplanned or unscripted, created spontaneously by performers. Thank you, Wikipedia. So, question, can I get a show of hands in the audience of anyone that's ever participated in improv, like done a show, done a workshop, watched someone? Wonderful. So most of you are familiar. That's good, because not everyone is, and that's totally cool. This definition, though, barely scratches the surface. It does not account for the principles and nuances of what make improv so interesting and valuable. These principles or components can be applied to all aspects of life, including the work we do every day as developers, or for anyone in the room who's not a developer, in any role that you're in life. So for the last year, I've been spending about 3 hours a week at Philly Improv Theater, going through their improv curriculum, spanning from 101 through 401. I'm currently wrapping up with 401 in a couple of weeks. So far, we've had 3 class shows. Some of you have gone to them, which I'm grateful for. But so through this experience, I've learned so much, and much of what I've learned has been applicable to how I go about my day at Guru and life. And so that's why I'm here, to talk about that with you. So improv comprises core principles or components, not the type that we're used to. Sorry, again, but so we're limited by time, so I'm only going to highlight a few main things, and then I'll explain how they can be leveraged in your everyday work experience as a developer. Sorry. Oh, wow, look, components, magic. I couldn't help myself, you know. So the 4 principles I distilled were active listening, support, trust, and collaboration. So you'll notice as we talk about these, and I'll give you examples, there's definitely some overlap in we'll call them props to these components of principles. You'll notice that they share some similarities, but they're different enough that I broke them out. So active listening, being present in the moment and attentive to every word that your team member is saying. You're not thinking about what you're going to say next. You're merely listening, tuning in so that you can fully respond. Support. Providing others with support creates an atmosphere of trust and belonging. Support similar to agreement, which is another principle of improv, which is tied to the idea of yes and I'll talk about that soon. Trust. Have confidence in your ideas and the ideas of others. Always assume good intentions. Trust makes it possible to have highly functioning teams. Collaboration, of course, improv. In improv, everything is a team effort, working together, building off of each other's ideas, and sharing responsibility. So yeah, had to. You might have heard this before, the yes and rule. Some might consider this the pillar of improv. A little bit of fun here. So yes and, what does this mean? Yes is like agreement and openness to what you hear. And the and is, here's my response. So typically this is a supportive response, not a blocking response, such as no. No can make others feel like their ideas, opinions, or feelings are not valued or heard, and it can also limit the creative process. Yes and is acknowledging of one's ideas, opinions, and feelings, and it allows us to build and move forward. So at its core, improv welcomes and values everybody's contributions because of yes and. So now I'm going to dive into these 4 principles. So, again, agreement, being present, being attentive, listening to people fully so you can respond fully. During the week, we attend different types of meetings like new feature discovery meetings, rollouts of a new process, project huddles, interview debriefs. We're meeting one-on-one with people. Sometimes we participate in meetings where ideas are explored, like when we meet to discuss a new feature. This is a great example of a time when listening will yield better outcomes. Have you ever accidentally cut someone off while they were sharing an idea or thought because you were so fixated on your own idea? You're like, oh, I got to say this thing. And then you realize you're just like steamrolling them. You're just like, yeah, that sucks. I've done it. It's happened to me. We all do it. It's unintentional. But when this happens, we potentially miss out on a great idea. To move Zoom. Okay. When you listen, chances are you'll learn something or you'll feel inspired. This yields a better creative process and permits us to build upon ideas in a more cohesive manner. Support, like in pair programming, which we do constantly. So again, support is providing others with support. It creates an atmosphere of trust and belonging. So at Guru, we pair program a lot, whether we're seeking assistance, helping others, or merely teaming up on a feature, we must always be supportive. When performing a scene in improv, it's all about team and support. You can't have an improv scene without that. When pairing, we're problem solving. We're working on something together rather than one person just showing the other person how to do something. That's not pairing. That's like, this is how you do it. And that other person's like, oh, okay. The same is true for a scene. Some of the worst scenes in improv are teaching scenes. When one person is just showing the other person how to do something, half the time in class, the teacher will just stop the scene and say, hey guys, no teaching scenes. It's not cool. It's not fun. It's not supportive. So providing others with support allows for people who would not normally speak up the opportunity to have the safety to voice their thoughts and their opinions. And that feels really good, especially when you're junior on a team or new. So by supporting each other, we strengthen each other. The third is trust. Trust in yourself and trust in others. Again, like having confidence in your ideas and the ideas of others, always assuming good intentions. So nearly every day we commit code. And as we work through design specifications, elusive bugs, it's important that we have confidence in our abilities and trust in our ideas. In improv, sometimes a player on the sidelines, which is someone that's not in the scene, or a player in the scene will see an opportunity and not act on it because they're doubting their idea. This happens all the time. And oftentimes, this is actually a missed opportunity. Oftentimes, your intuition to do something or say something was the right thing. Similarly, as we work with others, it's important that we show them that we trust them by yes-anding their ideas. It's super helpful. Try it. So again, trust makes it possible to have highly functioning teams because it's psychologically safer to speak up and share ideas. And for the fourth one, collaboration. Code review was the one thing that really stood out for me when I thought about this principle. So again, collaboration. In improv, everything is team effort, working together, building off of each other's ideas, and sharing responsibility. So every day we might get tagged in a pull request and we're in there. We're assigned to something. And when that happens, we're assuming a portion of responsibility over the code that is under review. It's essential that we work together to properly test, document, and make improvements to that code before it's merged into the next branch, like develop typically. If something breaks after the code is merged, the participants in the code review must share the responsibility for that. So another thing is be considerate during code reviews. As far as code reviews go, code review comments that are perceived as being unclear or harsh can have unfavorable consequences. And I got that from the recent post that Google put out on, I think, Code Health or something. It really resonated. And this is another opportunity to follow the yes and, rather than saying, this makes no sense, I don't understand why you're doing it this way. You could rephrase that comment in a way that's more supportive, curious, and less judgmental for the person. This will always yield a better outcome. So, what did we learn today? We learned that by listening actively, supporting our teammates, trusting them, and working collaboratively, we will become better developers and better team members. The best part is I don't feel like that right now. Very cool. Here are some inspiration and sources, because not all these ideas are my ideas. This is just like an amalgamation of things that I've learned. Truth in Comedy, really good book. This episode of this podcast that my coworker John suggested was so awesome. It was more suited towards design teams, but still applicable. And then the Google testing blog. And then on the right, that's my kitten that I've had for 3 days. I haven't slept. And she proofread all my slides, and she's really great. She's really lovely. Anyway, thank you. That was great. I would love to open up the floor to questions if anyone has any questions. Please. Nah.
I got one.
Yeah.
What pushed you to try improv in the first place?
You'll love this. One, I've always had an affinity for comedy, and like I'm the kind of person, you can ask anyone I work with, I'm always like making jokes, but I'm super serious. But like I find moments to sneak humor into everything because it lightens everything. The main reason is actually I have a fear of public speaking, and I thought that by taking an area that I'm comfortable with and overlapping it into an area of fear and terror, that would be a really like strategic transition into a more comfortable place. And that is, again, that's also why I'm here. This is my first talk. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. It was sort of this combination of like, comedy's cool, improv too, from like a brain intellectual perspective. There's so much going on when you're like in a scene or on stage, like you wouldn't even understand unless you've taken classes. And I think it's a really cool form. And I highly suggest that people try that if you're ever interested. There's other theaters in Philly. There's also Liberty Improv Theater, but there's Philly Improv Theater, and then I don't know if there's another program, but I recommend it for anyone. It's fun. No?
Any more questions? Oh shit.
Okay, they all went up at one time. I'm gonna go with Angel because she's right here.
Yeah, forget the guy with the blue hair.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Okay. So like I mentioned at my talk, I'm a part of Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Which which I highly recommend to you. You're welcome to come to my club. But that's not my question. My question is, I know you mentioned that during meetings you have that like hard time like doing the like talking over people. Do you think improv for you personally has helped with that? And then my second question is, so I'm not, so I don't really have a job right now. What do you know if like any of those improv theaters offer like financial aid or something like that for classes?
Yes. And so question one was about like the urge in moments and meetings to like talk over people. What was the question again?
Has that for you personally?
Yeah.
Taking improv, has that helped you out?
It has. It really has. Because in order for a scene in improv to be successful, like you have to listen to someone, and there's like concepts of game and all this other stuff. But if you respond to someone and it derails the like what's going on, the audience will immediately just be like, "Wait, what?" It just kills the scene. And so in class, like we'll do 2-person scenes, we'll do like multiple people scenes, and the second someone isn't like listening and it's obvious, the teacher will be like, hey, I think you weren't listening because so and so was like holding a like this they were doing something and then you said something that sort of denied that reality that they were creating, and it was a sign that like you weren't listening or you weren't observing. So yeah, in short, it has helped so much. It's you slow down and you're just like, okay, I got you, without like speaking over people. But I still do it. Like, totally, it happens. And then the second question, yes, Philly Improv Theater has opportunities for tuition assistance.
Thank you.
So I've run into a bunch of the problems that you say improv helps, and I totally believe it. I also do improv. Been through fit. It's great. Everyone should do it.
Seriously.
But have you ever tried to like convince people to start doing this? Because like I've had people be crappy in pull requests and reviews and stuff, and that's not fun. And I think it's hard to like address that in a way that's constructive enough to like bring it back. So this guy didn't do improv, so I don't because I don't know how to start that myself.
Thankfully at Guru, it's not really an issue. So I don't have like an immediate response to that. Most of the time people are like, if you do like, if you're using like a for each loop, someone's like, don't do it that way. There's like a nice way of saying like, hey, I see you're doing this here. Have you considered like trying this way because of X or something? Never like, what is this? Like, I don't know. Our core values really work. Like, really, truly. We don't, I don't know. It's like constant support and respect.
All right, we got time for one more. Here I come. All right, almost there.
Hi. Kudos, by the way, from going. I can only imagine like what you were like before. Now that you're actually up here like speaking, it seems like you made like huge leaps and bounds to
Thank
be
you.
speaking comfortably. What would you say was like your, I don't know, scariest moment, like interacting with like people to kind of like prompt you to want to like get better at being, more open in public,
Well,
talking in public?
I don't know how vulnerable I want to be right now, but I mean, there have been so many times in my life. It's been a really long time since I've like I'm using college terms, but like a presentation. Like I haven't really done anything like that since 2013 maybe, and that wasn't even college, it's after. But I like the scariest times are when it's the first few seconds when it starts that it's like the heart rate's so high or just like you lose your words, and that's not a comfortable way to start a presentation ever. That didn't happen tonight, thank God. But yeah, I think that that's an example, but that has happened so many times that I was just like, I'm tired of that happening. I want to be a person who shares my ideas in all forms. And at meetups, like eventually I want to like speak at conferences. And the only way to get to that point is just like really pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. So it's working. I'm really grateful. Okay, cool.
All right. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Lisa. Unless anybody has one last question. Got 7 seconds. All right. Oh, all the way back there. Here I come.
Yeah, why are you so awesome?
Oh, that's just how I am. Right.
Are you a mentor yourself, both in improv and development,
Am I a mentor in improv?
and or development?
I would say I'm a mentor more so in development, but I've never considered being an improv mentor. So thank you for asking.
That's it.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome.
All right. Let's give it up for Lisa.